what's going on, y'all? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And you're about to watch a little OTB LSU.
We're going to give you all the latest, greatest between LSU football, baseball, women's basketball, softball, and everything in between.
Bottom line, if you want to talk Tigers, keep it locked, subscribe, like it, and we hope you enjoy.
I thought Brian Kelly absolutely murdered the main press conference. Like we talked about, man. Like he did. Like, okay, they asked me about Pat Fitzgerald, right? And he starts, Pat's a good family man. I know him, and I'm sure he does. But as a head coach, you gotta know what's going on. They try to ask about Jeremy Pruitt, and he's like, well, I know these things have to be adjudicated. I know the level of detail that goes into it, but I didn't read up on it, so I can't really comment on it beyond that. It's been adjudicated. You just can't. Like, you have some coaches that get up there and they filibuster and they're reading the too deep and they're scared of what they're going to get hit with. He's such a seasoned pro at fielding questions that you can't. And there's an honesty that I really appreciate when he's talking about not being on. And granted, it's easier when you have, full customer satisfaction and everybody's behind you. And that's the case with Kelly right now.
Right.
But when he's asked about Georgia and Alabama, and he's very honest, said, look, that's the standard. Mm-hmm. And I think we're moving towards that standard, but we are not there yet. And that is true. Now, like we've talked about plenty, I do think LSU has a real interesting window here in year number 2 where it lines up to be really friendly a little bit earlier than it should. But I just love, it's like I went and did a hit right before the show started, and they asked me, did you learn anything from Brian Kelly yesterday? And I was like, it's weird. I don't know that anything revelatory was said, but I still loved everything he did say because it's just also clear, concise, and seemingly honest about where this team is at. Hearing him talk about Jaden Daniels, right, and what's clearly expected of him this year and where they need to improve, push the ball downfield, explosive plays. Like, he doesn't shy away. Imagine this, not shying away from the critiques, but being like, yeah, you're right. We need to do that better.
Yeah.
Like, more coaches need to take that. Like, why won't Jimbo Fisher just say that he's giving Bobby Petrino play calling duties? He just refuses to do it, even though he is. Like, I feel like we learned that last night with a little research. Bobby Petrino's definitely going to be calling plays, but Jimbo just can't bring himself. Well, maybe not.
Yeah, maybe not. I mean, the one person that said it, I don't know, might be a little too close to the sun, but because everybody else was like, yeah, I was trying to get him to say it. I was trying, because I had him yesterday, and I was kind of trying to, maybe get him to say it a little bit, and he'd say it, but then I'd be like, yeah, but what about these? Well, I'm going to be, in that situation too. So that was definitely something that was one of the storylines here at Media Day. It was something we talked about yesterday, being one of the 5 main storylines. But going back to BK, he is, very open. Hopefully we can get some sound I had with him yesterday. But Coach Neuheisel was with me, and he asked him, differences between Notre Dame and LSU and challenges and all that. And he goes into detail about Notre Dame. Like, a lot of people would give you the answer, I enjoyed my time at Notre Dame, but that's in the past. I'm at LSU now, and that would be it. But he doesn't do that. Like, he's like, no, hey, let me open it up for you. Here's the differences. Here's why I'm at LSU. Like, here's why it's a different job. And so, I really appreciate, him being open and giving you actual answers.
Yes.
And just not, giving you the coach speak.
BS coach speak. Actually, there is one thing that I think I did. There is one thing that I think I learned yesterday and that I found to be very interesting, which was his answer about how originally the LSU job didn't attract him, right? He had other offers. He had other things that he thought were more attractive. Mm-hmm. And the only reason why I find that answer to be interesting is because that goes back to Scott Woodward.
Yeah.
How do you convince a guy like Kelly who has, whatever opportunity he would have wanted, like already in a great spot in Notre Dame, has all the opportunity he would have wanted outside of that, and he's not originally attracted to you, like, how do you then convince that man that you are actually his best path forward? And that's where we get into the genius of Scott Woodward. And you saw, when we talked to Scott a couple weeks ago, it was probably my favorite interview we've ever even done on Off the Bench, just about. And even in that, you can see how that's the case. But again, that's like a very honest answer. And you just don't always get that here. And so, I thought Brian Kelly was a star yesterday. I think if you're an LSU fan, you should feel very, very good about the CEOs currently leading your program.
Yeah, you're talking about Scott, and someone was asking me yesterday, what makes him so great, and how's he, able to get all these coaches to campus? Because he's not afraid.
Yeah.
To make the call and to shoot for the biggest candidate possible, the outside the box, maybe you don't think you have a chance. And it's crazy. You think, well, no athletic director is like that. It's like, no, they are. They're like, oh, we couldn't get that guy. We're not going to get that guy. And that's why you heard names like Billy Napier and Mel Tucker, and Scott's just sitting there like, oh, no. I'm going to go Notre Dame's winningest coach of all time. And I'm going to bring him down to the SEC. I mean, Kim Mulkey from Baylor. I mean, we could go name for name for name. Like but it's not just for the name. I mean, Jay Johnson wasn't necessarily a name, but he had been to Omaha a couple of times. Like in the baseball circles, people knew who he was. And so, yeah, I mean, someone tries to get me to like explain how great Scott Woodward is. I could talk for 35 minutes in his process and what makes him so great, because he just does things that other athletic directors, I say scared. They're not scared to do them, but they just don't think they can achieve them as far as who they can bring in.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely has that confidence. He's a master politician. He's obviously incredibly intelligent. I've never heard anybody use gestalt in casual conversation.
He had you at gestalt.
He did, dude.
He did. As soon as he said it. I said, I don't know what that means, but I'm sure T-Bob does, and he's going to love it.
I did it, which I love. And then Kelly had me at adjudicate yesterday. So a match made in heaven there. Okay, he was fantastic.
Wow, Jake, what incredible takes.
I mean, those guys, they're just the best.
I think so. And if you think so, again, hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications when we post every single day here on OTB LSU.